radio. And the stations is one in Gala, Buffelshoek Dam. I'm going to be radio down. I think Tom and Patsy are in the lock with me. They'll be taking over. How cool is that? There we go. Where have they been? Have they made a kill in the bushes? That lion has a very full belly. I think we're going to need to follow it. How do you feel about that? Senzo, let's go. We're going to lose this lion, so I'm going to follow it. We're going to try and get in there and get down there and see how it goes. Hello, hello. Just telling Tom and Patsy, my friends, that we're live. I can't chat to them. I'll chat to them a little bit later. I don't think they saw the lion. Now we need to get down here, but the dam is really full. Can I still go around? Let's try. I'm going into 4x4 now. I hope. I'm sorry, I'm just going to have to concentrate here because we're getting to the point where I need to drive quite close to the water's edge. So they obviously come for a drink, and the lion did look like it had a decent sized belly on it. Let's go up and in here. Maybe there's a nice animal pathway to try and follow it. How cool was that? How was that luck? After just saying, I haven't been seeing anything, and then to be given that was pretty amazing. Where did you go now? Oh, there. Oh, and a baby lion too. I think it might be the Nkuhuma. I'm still going to have to concentrate here. I'm really sorry. It's very, very treacherous terrain. I remember this area before. There might be another way up from this side. There's just some big logs here. Let's have a look. They're going up and in here. I'm not going to look at you. And you're out shooting, which is she's lead us to the rest of the pride, and it's quite a big pride of lions. Here she is. They're actually just off the roads. Is that okay, Senzo? It'll do for now. So Senzo's just going to quickly re-level the camera. Very, very cool. How amazing is that? I'm just going to jump on the radio. Sorry, everybody. Tom, Patsy, if you can copy me, come around on that link road that runs from the Balanites tree just on the southern side of Buffelshoek Dam that links back to Buffelshoek boundary. You'll get them on the road. It's just two lions. It looks like one of the Nkuhuma lionesses with a youngster. I'm going radio down again. There we go. Just calling the other vehicle in a much easier route because they're not going to get a view from where we are. We've obviously taken the sneaky back pathway here just because I wasn't sure where they were going to navigate and head to. Where is the rest of the pride? I wonder. Now, I have a feeling that this is part of the Nkuhuma Pride. Can you hear the birds shouting now? They're very unhappy. They're shouting quite a bit. So what they've done is they've seen the lions now, and all the animals out here, they can speak the same language. So they're shouting, saying, hey, anybody else around here? Impala, kudu, zebra, buffalo. There's lions here. There's lions. You better be careful. That's basically what they're saying. And it's quite a young cub too. I'm trying to remember when it was born. I think it was born just before I went to Kenya, so it must be about 7 or 8 months old now. Ethan, you're wondering if this adult lioness is pregnant? No, not at all. She's just got a big belly because she's eaten something, and so has her cub. So that's quite exciting to see. There she's getting up again. She's got a big bulging belly. So the way that lions' digestive system is designed is that they would eat a lot in a very short period of time. And then their stomachs balloon like that. They blow up. And then she won't have to eat for another 2 or 3 days. So it's quite cool. So that's why she looks so fat like that. Right. Are you ready to move again? We have to keep on the go. Going to do some off-roading here again. I don't know how I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to have to drive over a little tree. Right, I'm going to keep going. Sorry, everyone. No, I'm not going anywhere. Tom, Patty, I'm live, but you're welcome to carry on. I'm going to try and get out of here. And I will, thank you. Sorry, everyone, I'm just trying to figure out why I'm not going forward. A log. If I go a little bit to the left, will it be better? Sensor's saying if I go slightly to the left, I might be. It will help if my 4x4 stayed in gear. Oh, thanks, Sensor. Okay, I'm so sorry, everybody, that we're having to do all this off-roading, but if you'd like to see lions, you're just going to have to come along for the ride. It's not always easy. You're good. No, the animals don't often stick on the pathways. They do whatever they want to, whenever they want to. Where are you taking us to? I really hope wherever the rest of the pride is, they're going to show us sooner rather than later. There they are. They're on a kill. I just heard growling. That's why I stopped. I heard them growling. Let's get in here. They're fighting over something. There's a buffalo that they've caught. There's a lion. There's a whole pride lion. Hi, guys. Senzo, I want to go around. I want to get to the ones that are feeding. We're going to go around these cats. Hi, big girls and big boy. Promise you it's going to be worth it. If you just give me 2 minutes, I'm going to get you the most amazing view. Hello, kitty cats. What's your back here, Sentinel? Sorry, it's no thorns. Oh, they've caught a buffalo. These sneaky lions. Here we go. We'll just stop like this for now and then have a little look. How cool is this? You are all so lucky. Now, I want you to also listen very carefully. I'm also going to try and tell Tom, Patsy, if you can sort of follow the way that I went in. I've got the Nkuhuma Pride on an Inyati bumper. Sure, I'm not even sure where we are. Maybe you can just give better directions to call a third vehicle in. If anyone's close by, I'm just still live. There we go. Wow. I've been so incredibly lucky. But now I'm ready for all of your questions, everybody. So I look forward to all of them coming in. Whew. That was crazy. How insane was that? Driving through all of that stuff. Wow, wow, wow. And to be so close. Look how close I am. I mean, I'm maybe only 20 meters away from them. And they don't mind us at all. Pretty amazing. It was worth the wait, wasn't it? I think it definitely was. Well, I'm excited about it. Faith, can you hear me still? Sorry, I'm just checking my comms. You've got comms, I don't. I don't have comms. Faith, can I have a comms test, please? Sorry, everybody. I'm having all the technical difficulties today. Sensor's going to try and plug me in from his side, but I'm not going to be able to move around too much. Okay, Faith, you can try again. Okay, now I can hear you, but we're going to just listen to these lions as they fight over this kill. Now, there's quite a big pride of lions here. There should be 5 lionesses, so 5 adult females. And then there should be 6 older cubs that are almost 2 years old. And then we already saw the one younger cub that's just under a year, probably about 7 or 8 months old now. Somewhere around there, about 7 months probably. So that's a big pride of lions. And Ethan, going back to your question about whether lions kick out other lions from the pride, and sometimes it happens. You know who it happens to the most, Ethan? It's the males. So there's only one young male in this pride. And the reason why he will get kicked out is because he eventually is going to become competition for the coalition of male lions that sort of see this pride. So they don't just have one group of females that they look after. They've got a massive territory that they'll go round and round, mark and defend their territory by roaring, by also scent marking with their glands on their cheeks, and as well as spraying urine. And they must have about 3 or 4 different prides of females. So they don't want any of the males to come through and potentially, take them on when they get a little bit older. So normally by about 3 to 3.5 years, the males get kicked out of the prides and they've got to go off on their own. And it's very dangerous for them. They live a very dangerous life, trying to sneak in and around all the other lions, all the other male lions in the area, because they'll try and kill them until they are big enough and strong enough to take over a pride for themselves. So yes, they do. And then something we used to see a lot of when we were in the Mara in Kenya, was the prides get exceptionally big there. They get huge. You might see the average size was between 4 and 5 females. But then you'd also get some where, there's like 20 or 30 lions in a pride, and that's really big. And when the migration is not around, so when there aren't many wildebeest and zebra that have all traveled from Tanzania coming to Kenya, it's hard to find food. It's hard to feed all of those lions. So sometimes the prides get a little bit sick of one another, and then they split up and they form a breakaway pride, just because it's easier to hunt and feed if there's less of them. It's the same thing now at the moment. We're waiting for the big herds of buffalo to return. You're lucky to see the buffalo that you have been with Scott, because they're one less now. They've managed to catch one. And I don't know when they caught this buffalo. I don't know when the lions actually came onto the property. We've been looking for them for ages and ages and ages. Ooh. Ryan, you're wondering how many lions would it take to kill a water buffalo? Well, I'm not sure, because we've got African buffalo here. I've never seen lions taking on a wild buffalo, on a water buffalo, in Africa. So we've got the African or Cape buffalo, and one male lion can take down a buffalo on his own. If the buffalo is sick and injured, it wouldn't surprise me if one lioness, one female, could do the same thing. And this pride would have taken it down exceptionally easy, because the cubs, they're not even cubs anymore, they're sub-adults. They're participating in the hunts now too. You can see someone is upset because there's not much left on that buffalo carcass, so they're all going to scrap over it. They're going to fight for the last of the remains. That's amazing sound. Very cool. Wow. Well, from all of you at Causey Middle School, I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you for coming on a seriously bumpy adventure and for putting up with me off-roading, but it was worth it in the end. We got to see the biggest cat in Africa, and I hope that put smiles on all of your faces, and we look forward to chatting to you all again. So from all of us here at Wild Earth, from myself and Scott and Senzo and Sebastian, we'll have chats for you next time, but we'll see you guys in a little bit. Right. I'm most certainly not going to go anywhere with these lions. I'm just going to take a breather and have a sip of water and compose myself. And, while we do that, I think Lucky is on Chitwa. I wonder if he's managed to find Chitwa Dam. Nasty gremlins out today, but luckily the Nkuhumas are here to save the day. I bet you're all very happy to see them again, and this time feasting. It's always good to see these cats when they have something to feed on. Ah, wonderful. I believe that you're all excited. We've got your audio. Just keep coming sort of southeast, you should get a visual. So it's just calling on the radio that we can that we've got the other vehicle's audio, because it's quite thick in here, as you saw as we were heading on in. So I believe you're all quite excited. Yep, I am too. And this is the first decent view. Actually, it's the first time I've seen the Nkuhumas during the day, funny enough, since I've been back at work. It's only almost taken, what's the date today? It's only almost taken 2 weeks. Seen them a couple of times passing through the property at night. Saw them tearing into a impala one evening. But very, very, very nice to see. Not that a buffalo is going to last these lions for very long. Because what is it now? So it's 5 adult lions. We've got the 6 older sub-adults. So that's already 11 cats. And then we've got the other little youngsters. So that's 12 lions. But 11 almost adults. 6 of them almost adults. They're big now. So they're going to be consuming a huge amount. So one buffalo is not going to go very far. I'm not sure if it was a sub-adult buffalo or if it was a female. It's quite difficult to, in fact, tell with all the trees and things around, and also for the fact that the lions have devoured most of it already. So as long as they all manage to get a couple of mouthfuls just to line the tummy, and that should keep them going for a while. But good news that they are back here. I assume they must have done this last night or very early this morning. Very hungry cats. Now, Francis from Israel, you're wondering, why do I think the Nkuhumas always seem to go for buffalo? They don't always go for buffalo. They ate a waterbuck the other night. You remember those beautiful big horns that we found on bushwalk? So they do eat other things too. However, a buffalo is a rather large animal. I mean, a bull can quite easily weigh between 600 and 800 kilograms, and a cow probably closer to about 600 kilograms. So for all these lions, that's going to be the most perfect meal for them. And then they don't have to worry about hunting every 2 seconds either. And that's the whole thing, is that these lions don't want to have to hunt every single day. They want to bring down something quite large and that they can feed on for 2 or 3 days. Soon, they're going to have to start taking down giraffe. That's going to be their next bet, because that will at least allow them to feed for quite some time. But there's hungry cats here. Hungry cats. I reckon they'll finish this by this evening and then move on. It doesn't look like there's much left. And the fact that they're all growling at one another. Do you know what? I'm just seeing the horns now. I'm going to have a look with my binoculars. I think, Senzo, it might just be out of view for you. One of the lions has sort of turned the head of the buffalo, so I should be able to age it. You just see that curvature. Come on, lion. Yeah, it's not a fully grown buffalo. It looks to be maybe a buffalo or was it a cow? No, it's a youngster. Maybe about 3 years old, 2 to 3 years old. So not very big. Not a big buffalo at all for these lions. It's actually just really a snack. They might get a decent sized belly, but that's it. Now, First Lady, you're wondering if there are any Birmingham boys around? No, I have not seen a sign of a Birmingham boy for a very long time. And there's some exciting things that are going to develop, I reckon. There's 3 young males known as the Avaka males. You may have seen some posts on Facebook and other various social media sites that have been hanging around in Buffels Hook. I haven't seen them yet. I'm hoping to see them at some point. And I don't actually even know where they've come from, in fact. But from the images that I've seen, they look to maybe be between 3 and 4 years old, maybe a little bit older than that. So still fairly young. They've got mohawks at the moment. Maybe a bit older than that, maybe 3.5 to 4.5 years old. So, are they going to take advantage of the disappearance of the Birmingham boys and sneak on in? We don't know. This is the exciting things now. Not only are we having leopard change-ups, but there's a potential for new male lions to come in. Listen to this. That's incredible audio. No, Joseph, that is incorrect, I'm afraid. There isn't enough buffalo meat here for them. That is why they are growling. is because they basically, you can see that lion has got a fairly full belly, but they're getting to the end of it now. Pretty amazing to be sitting in the presence of such a large pride of lions as they all squabble over the remains of a buffalo carcass. That is insane. Ravinda, you've said that you love this growl. Me too. It's one of the most incredible sounds out here in the bush. You see that lion on the right is actually trying to, I think it was trying to look for a gap. Not that it looks like it's got much room left in its belly. But remember, the way that lions... Oh, I'm going to sit quietly while we listen to this. I can't compete with the lions. It sounds like it's exhausting to try and growl with those full bellies. So what I was going to say is that the way that the lion's digestive system is designed is that they will try and consume as much meat as they can in a very short space of time, which obviously causes their stomach to balloon like that, and they're able to expand it. So when you see a hungry lion, they normally have a lot of extra saggy skin around their belly, and that's just because it's waiting to be filled, of course. So, like I said, I mean, they could even finish this in the next hour or so. There doesn't look like there's much flesh left at all. And if they have been eating it since this morning or late last night, that would, of course, explain a lot. So I'm hoping that they're all at the same time going to head towards Buffelshoek Dam and have a drink at some point this evening. That would be ideal. But we can only wait and see. Guide Monkey, you've said that the fact that that little cub was able to grab a mouthful of that buffalo is a good sign that it was, well, I suppose it was a decent meal for the lions. I think so, but maybe what you would have found is that perhaps it wasn't feasting at the time that they were all trying to tuck in. And, I mean, it's hard to say because we weren't here, because I can't really see any space for that little one to sort of feed on. So perhaps when everybody had eaten their fill, it decided that it was getting a bit heated now. Very angry lions. Not at us, of course. They're angry at one another because they're greedy. Remember, there's no table manners around a carcass. The animals don't know about knives and forks and, you know, wiping the food that you spill on your chin. None of that. Also, no, I beg your pardon, please, could you pass the salt and pepper? You just reach and you grab. Sainzel, please can I show the viewers something on my hand? The good has just jumped onto the car and onto me. Are you enjoying the show? Well, I like the way it's bouncing to the sound of the lions roaring. Look at it. It's also missing a leg. Was it eating on that carcass? Did you just use your foot as a toothpick? Look, watch it go. Dun, 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 dun. I don't know why I'm doing the Pink Panther soundtrack. What music could we do? Whoop. Is it on my hat now, Senzo? I feel like it's on my hat. Wanted a better view, so it's just thought it's going to sit there. Well, sadly, this little critter is slightly disadvantaged. Something biting you, Senzo? Flies. Senzo's scratching around now as well. Perhaps you need the grasshopper friend. So anyways, this poor grasshopper has lost a leg somehow. I don't know how. And, well, it looks quite young still. I'm sorry. Maybe you survived an attack from a bird. We'll leave it on my head. We shall leave it on my head for as long as it would like to stay up there for. We'll see. This is incredible. The fact that we're so close. Senzo, it is flies, because I'm being bitten by, like, little flies too. Little midges or something. We're being attacked. Yes, I see them. Got one. All right, I'll kill them for us, Senzo. This is amazing. I'm in awe of the sighting. But we'll sit here for as long as it takes to see what these cats get up to and hope they will mosey on down to Buffelshoek Dam for a drink of water. Scott seems to have fought off the gremlins for the moment. We have, and we're going to try and stick with the lions for as long as possible. I can't believe we managed to find them. It was pure luck this afternoon. Hey, Sensor, we had a great day. A bit slow to start off with this afternoon, but it's definitely got better. And look who's come to join us now too. It's the youngest cub of the Nkuhuma Pride. Or should I say the only cub of the Nkuhuma Pride. We can't really call the others cubs anymore. They're sub-adults now. And desperately wanting to go in there, as you can see. I don't know if I'd be as brave as that little cub. There's been lots of swatting, lots of growling, lots of snarling, even the occasional biting, I think. And when you're that small, you are going to get squashed pretty easily. Not on purpose, but of course the adults are fighting for as much food as they can get. And that little one does have a big belly, so it kind of doesn't need to eat too much more. The adults are the ones that have to do the hunting. So this time, youngster, you might have to just take a little seat back. I'm actually trying to work out if it's a little boy or a little girl, because I don't know the sex of it. Is it a... Looks like a little boy, hey? Yeah, I was texting. I'll ask him. Is it my daughter? Is it a girl? Oh, it's a little girl. There we go. A little girl. That's nice. Hopefully she does successfully make it to adulthood. And that will just mean one more for the ever-growing Nkuhuma Pride, which is very, very exciting. Because, I mean, out of the 6 cubs that they had a few in 2016, the ones that survived the white muscle disease, 5 of them are girls. So that brings the pride now to 11 females and 1 young male, if I'm not mistaken. That's exceptional. It's a big pride alliance. Now, Karen, you're wondering if I can tell which one of the little lion, or which one not so little lions, is the lion I used to call Floppy Ear. I didn't actually call her Flip Flop. Brent used to call her Flip Flop, and Tristan, and it would annoy me. I called her the floppy ear girl, and the only reason we called her the floppy ear girl is because she got a bouts of mange, and her ear became so swollen that it drooped. But we always knew that it was going to recover and straighten up. And to be honest, Karen, with their heads in the buffalo like they are, it's virtually impossible. But I bet you're all keeping an eye out, because I'd love to see her, and she'll be one of these. One of them, of course. I'm collecting all the insects today. I've got the grasshopper on my hat. I've just had a jumping spider land on me somewhere. But I'm hoping that we can catch the jumping spider and train it to catch all the bugs. Senzel, maybe I'll give you the spider if I can find it. And it can get all those ones that are biting you. There's these tiny little midges that are out at the moment, and that's actually what's getting us. It's not even the bigger midges, but their bite's really sore. It's like a pinprick. It's honestly like if you take a pin or a needle and you were to prick your finger if you were going for a blood, a little blood test or something, malaria test, that little pin, if any of you have ever had a malaria test, yeah, that's what it kind of feels like. It's horrible. It's really quite painful. Not pleasant whatsoever. Now, I'm surprised that this lioness has made it this far. And Danielle, you're wondering how the wound on the hip of the one lioness is. It's incredible. It's healed immaculately. We can't see it too well now because, well, her skin is all wrinkled up and sort of concealing the wound slightly. But if she does open up her hip slightly, we can see it. But it looks good. It looks very good, in fact. I can't believe it. She's a bit scrawl. That's a good South African word. Scrawl. S-K-R-A-A-L. And basically that sort of means thin. You would use it to describe something that wasn't in the best condition. It's actually a great word. And that's exactly what she looked like. So yeah. But at least she's going to have a full belly now because she hasn't lifted her head once away from that carcass. It'll take her a bit of time. I bet her immune system took a little bit of a knock too. But she'll get there. I mean, she's made it this far, so I have no doubt that she's going to make a full recovery. Pretty impressive. Because when I first saw the footage, I didn't know if she was going to come back from something like that. It was a terrible wound, the way she had it. But Pride is obviously all pulled together and helped her with the hunting. Maybe she stayed back. Maybe she wasn't doing much of the hunting. I wouldn't imagine she'd be able to. And they still allowed her to feed. Pretty amazing. Go, lions, go. And this is why they are so successful. Shame the little one is just creeping around looking for a little gap. I don't think you're going to find one, I'm afraid. Now, Orchid Wave, you're wondering if there's any difference between male and female tufts on their tail, so that black tip. I don't think so. I can't ever remember reading anything before. Actually, this is the first time I've ever been asked this question. I'm just looking on the young male now, comparison to the females. I can't see any difference at all, in fact. But who knows? I don't think there is. I think it's the same. You can see the little one is actually just starting to get it, and they typically start to develop that black tuft of hair on the tail. I think it's from about 6 or 7 months old. Maybe even a little bit younger. It's still got a bit of a way to go, though. Still got all its little spots on its legs, on its body. Come on, little one. I reckon you could just do a big pounce and land on top of the skeleton of the buffalo and feed that way. Get inside the rib cage. Eat your way out. You could do that. It's small enough to still get in there. And it would be protected then by the ribs from the savages, which are the sub-adults that are desperately chomping away to get at any scrap that they can. Come on, you fat-bellied lions, get up and go for a walk to Buffelshoek Dam so we can watch you drink in the last of the evening light. You can see it's just sort of catching those lions now, but soon, in the next, there's quite a bit of cloud cover actually, so it might get darker quicker. Maybe in the next 10 to 15 minutes, it's going to be very dark. Here's an interesting question, and it's from Lauren in Illinois. How likely is it that that young male of the Nkuhuma Pride is going to, I suppose, disperse and find other males to join up with? I don't know. I don't think very likely. I'm just trying to think what other young up-and-coming males there are in the area. I don't think there are too many. Maybe if he goes on a wanderbout, if he perhaps goes into Northern Kruger or maybe into the Manuleti, I don't know what lions are there, in fact. Maybe he'll come across some other male lions that are in a similar predicament. Whether they'd accept him or not is a whole different ballgame. That we can't predict. That you just have to kind of wait and see. And we saw a young male with Brent, remember? Trying to join a group of male lions, and he was rejected. Lucky they didn't kill him. You hear all the snapping. I don't know if that's actually bones. Might be. They also are sitting on a few trees now, so they could be snapping the stems of those too. But there's not much left at all on there. They really are right at the end of this carcass. Anita, you said you're sitting in Columbus, Ohio, and the growling is making your heart sink. It's pretty daunting sound, eh? I can't tell you. Heart race, not sink. I suppose same, but different. Yeah. You know what? I get excited by this sound, though. You know, when I was driving in, and we were with the school, and how I heard, well, actually, I didn't even see the other lions. I heard them. I heard a big growl like the one we've just heard now, and I slammed on brakes and I switched the car off. That gave me a fright because I actually thought it was maybe a lion coming out of the bushes at me because I couldn't see where it was coming from. It was so thick. But it wasn't. It was them just scrapping over the remains of this carcass. So that's actually what pointed me in the other direction. If it wasn't for that, though, I suspect you would have still seen it. Is this my little floppy-head girl? She's got very dark eyes, and I distinctly remember her having dark eyes like amber eyes. Not quite the same, but fairly similar. I don't know, though. It's been such a long time since I've last seen her. She's grown up so much. Little one dodging tails and teeth. Trying to find a gap again. Now, here's quite a cool question from Eloise, and it's just going back to that young male lion and once he disperses, and it's about whether he'd ever be successful or not. Yeah, of course. I've seen many prides of lions where there's just been one male within the area. Obviously, the more males you have, the better chance you have of keeping that pride for a longer period of time. So, yes, it is most certainly possible. But out here, we don't often see many single male lions going off on their own. Just trying to think. Remember the story I told you of Freddie and Solo, who were two male lions that once were down in Sabi in the southern sands, so even around Kirkman's, Lion Sands, Mkumbe, Dudley. I'm just trying to think of all the different properties around there. And they were in, well, at one point, I think it was Solo that was in charge of or Freddie, one of the two, I can't really remember now, it was such a long time ago, were in charge of the Southern Pride, all on their own, but then got chased out by the Sand River males, and then they got chased out by other lions, and then the Four Ways males came in, and then the Charlestons came in too. So the change-up happens all the time, so it does happen, but then in their old age, those two males that were on their own for most of their life, which is quite unusual, decided to join up. And they sort of retired together, which was quite cool. I thought that was very clever of the two of them to do that. These are the little cubbers. Yes, you're going to get hiding now. It's managed to find a spot, but it's already been reprimanded. Oh, you better be careful. Especially if you're older siblings, they're not going to tolerate you very much at all. Now, Nancy, you've said that the Styx Pride have got quite a few young males, and you think maybe he could join them. Maybe. I don't know if any of you have heard this news. I found out yesterday from a couple of guides. Apparently that one of the Tsalala lionesses has killed one of the young males from the Styx Pride, one of the cubs that are about a year old now. I've heard this from 3 different guides. On 2 guides on Chitwa and another guide from Nkoro. So I'm not sure how true that is or what has happened. I actually haven't read anything, but to be honest, I haven't done any research about it just yet either. So that's no good. So I can't even tell you how many lions are in the Styx Pride anymore. I've completely forgotten. And the last time I was here, I think there were 3 new cubs, and then I haven't seen them for ages. And I think they're still bumbling about on Arethusa somewhere. A little bit sad. But that is, of course, just one of those things. How's the light, Senzo? Still fine? No, I'm up to you. Are you happy still? So I'm just checking with the light conditions with Senzo if he wanted to go to infrared. But not just yet. We've got a little bit of light to play with. But while we see what happens, whether these lions are going to sleep, fight, or drink, I'm going to send you back across to Scott to see where he is and what he's searching for. Right, so basically we've put our big special lights on now. The IR light, the animals cannot see it. So we won't be disturbing them instead of putting an artificial spotlight on them, with that, especially with that young cub around. We don't like to spotlight the young animals. I'm very lucky to be able to just sit and watch them. Some of them have gone to sleep. That little one's still desperately trying to get in. Not giving up hope just yet. Looks so unhappy. Look at those ears. Very unimpressed. Now, First Lady, you've asked if overeating would ever cause any problems for lions. Other than maybe give them a bit of an upset stomach? No, I don't think so. Like we were chatting about earlier, it's actually how their digestive system is designed. It's supposed to happen that way. They can go for 3 or 4 days a week and not touch any food, and then they will completely gorge themselves, where their stomachs quadruple in size, if not even more. So it's completely normal. That's one of the adult lionesses. Can you hear her panting? Panting really heavily. Now, not because she's necessarily hot, I bet she's a little bit on the warm side, but because that stomach has expanded a fair amount, it's pushing up on the diaphragm now, which means that they have to take these shorter breaths. like Jurassic Park now. Pretty crazy, isn't it? Deadhead Tom, you said that's such an intimidating sound. It most certainly is. Imagine walking in the bush and hearing that. You'd be very frightened. Very, very, very frightened by that sound. I'd definitely take a couple of steps to the left and to the right. Now, you might see a light every now and then. That's, of course, a spotlight. It's not coming from our vehicle. We've got our infrared on. We always, whenever we can, try avoid using the spotlights. But there are some other guests in the sighting with us who are enjoying it. And unfortunately, they don't have big fancy cameras like ours with very cool lights on them. Bumper, you're wondering how far is the Gari Dam from the kill? Quite far away. The closest one is Buffelshoek Dam, which is maybe only about 100 meters away. So that's the one they'll be using to drink. Tayla Dam must be, I don't know, trying to think, maybe 2 miles away, 2.5 miles. So not too far either. But there's no need for them to go down that way. But are you asking maybe because you want to have a look on the dam cam tonight? Always good to keep an eye out. Whether they're going to sleep or get on the move, I'm not sure, but I don't think you're going to hear the growls from there, I'm afraid. You'll just have to sit and listen to them now. Sort of gets quite heated and then they settle down again. They're bothering you, those midges, Senzo. I put my jacket on to try and it's not really working though. Now, Teddy Bear Toys asked if there's always a runt in every litter. No, not necessarily. Not that I've seen. Sometimes it does happen. I always wondered if the floppy-eared little lion was perhaps the runt of the litter. She was very feisty, though. It was almost just like she had to keep fighting for her place in the pride, whereas everybody else had it a little bit easier. And she was. Character building, I suppose, hey? Look how tough it made her, standing up to the Birmingham boys. She used to literally sit on top of the buffalo carcass and swat at anything and growl and snarl and hiss if anyone came near her. She was very entertaining to watch, which is why I grew so fond of her, of course. It's almost too hot for my jacket, but I don't want to get bitten because these are nasty little midges. You might see them actually in the infrared light flying around. You can see them just buzzing past. Is this the little floppy-eared girl? I don't know. It's hard to see. Anyways, we're not going to go anywhere just yet. We're still waiting for these lions to go for a drink of water. Well, that's what I'm hoping anyways. Let's see if Lucky's got his spotlight out, and I wonder how good he is at spotting chameleons.
Just up in front of us, with a spotlight, we have a nightjar sitting nicely, looking around for something to eat. There he flies off. It's a beautiful little bird. Comes out at night. You'll see it often at this time of the night. They normally use the skyline to hook insect from the air. They have a very interesting story about how they hook insect and all that. You see them every time, maybe sitting on a road or on a pole, looking up in the sky. They don't pick insects from the ground. That's a trick of them. They only hook them up in the air because they've got a very wide mouth that they open wide and hook insect. If you may know that at night, mostly insect that flies at night are moth. There's a lot of moth that they take. So they have a huge, big eyes. As you notice, one was on the ground. big eyes. They use them to see above. And with the big whiskers and eyelashes, very long eyelashes. And by catching moth, that's what's fascinating me, is that they have what we call a comb, a little comb on their toe. Because by catching moth, moth release the scales. You know, if you touch a moth, there's scales that comes off. So they will be feeding on a moth, and those scales comes off and clog their eyelashes, and it makes it difficult for them to see at night. So you sometimes see them sitting on the road, cleaning themselves on all those scales by using that little comb on each foot, or there's a little toe nail in the middle toe. They have little comb. It's a proper developed little comb that they use to clean up their eyelashes. And that's funny for me, because male and female have that. So that's how fascinating they are. Nightjars. Okay, it's flew off, so let's carry on search. Monique, thank you that you love nightjars. I do love them too. So thank you so much. Okay. Let's keep searching. Maybe we will see more, or we'll see some. We'll be looking for nocturnal animals now with a spotlight, which will. Come, I can make the sound. Come, as he's asking, can I make the sound? I can make the sound of some of nightjars, like far-neck nightjar. I can make the, although it's not a good one, but I can make the sound. Which we translate sometimes as it says, "Good Lord, deliver us." But that's the sound they make. Okay. Oh, there's another two on the ground. Yeah, flying off the birds. Carry on. So I was saying we're trying to find any nocturnal animals. Yes. Okay, because we will carry on searching, but so far I can take you back to Tayla. She's got lions that side. Unfortunately, we just had that one lion killed a cub, but that's nature, how it is. So back to Tayla.
Well, still just sitting patiently, that's for sure. A lot more movement going around now. Some of the sub-adults getting up. Perhaps they've realized that there really isn't much left at all. Now, I wonder if all this growling is going to lure in the hyenas for a little bit later. Wonder if the Djuma clan will be here to clean up the scraps once these cats move away. Possibly. Only time will tell, though. Might be a good spot to come and check. Well, still just sitting patiently, that's for sure. A lot more movement going around now. Some of the sub-adults getting up. Perhaps they've realized that there really isn't much left at all. Now, I wonder if all this growling is going to lure in the hyenas for a little bit later. Wonder if the Djuma clan will be here to clean up the scraps once these cats move away. Possibly. Only time will tell, though. Might be a good spot to come and check tomorrow morning, to come and have a little look around, see if there is anything left. Or if the lions, of course, are still going to be around here. Now, Eloise, you're wondering if other lions will ever get seriously hurt during sort of a food dispute. Yes, of course, it can happen from time to time. Most of the time it's kind of just like a push and a shove and a get away from me, this is my spot. You know when you have an argument with your brother or sister, elbows at the table, because of course you know your brother's eating with his arms out as if he was a chicken flapping his wings and you're just trying to eat nicely. That's like the equivalent of what's going on, except that they're lions and of course everything is escalated slightly. So they growl and snarl and swipe at one another. It's basically the equivalent of you going, brother, please can you eat with your elbows at your sides? Remember, there's no table manners here, so they just shout at one another all the time. So that's what goes on. And I'm not necessarily even worried about the older ones. It's that little one that I'm a little bit worried about because it keeps trying to get in on the kill. And when your face is, well, your nose is all the way in a buffalo carcass, you're not really worried about who is trying to sneak in on the left or right side. You're just going to retaliate. And because that cub is still quite small, they are exceptionally tough creatures, though, because how many times have we seen big male lions swat at young cubs and they go flying? And they just sort of get up, shake it off, and then go running back to mom with their tail between their legs. So they're fine and not really anything to worry about too much. They just need to be a little bit on the cautious side when they go about things like this. But very lucky that we got the lions. Goodness, the mosquitoes and things are horrible tonight. I don't even have repellent for us. Ian, I think you may have just jumped on board the safari and you're wondering why there are no males at the kill. Well, there's one young male here that's almost 2 years old, but I think you're referring to perhaps the Birmingham boys, which is the dominant coalition within this area. They're all over the show. I don't even know where they are. I have yet to see them in the 2 weeks that I've been back at work. Since returning from Kenya. From what I can understand, there's 2 Birmingham boys that have been roaming around the southwestern corner of the Sabi Sands, so on Lion Sands, on Sabi, all around those areas, probably Kirkman's, and it's a problem. They're very far out of their territory. Perhaps they've decided to move on, and now they've left this area open. But there are 3 young males by the name of the Avaka males that are on Buffelshoek at the moment. So maybe they're going to hear all this commotion and come over and investigate. However, I don't think they're going to receive a warm welcoming from either the Torchwood Pride, which is another pride of lions we occasionally see, or even the Nkuhumas, which is this pride of lions. I think they're going to find themselves in a bit of trouble, especially because they're quite young too. They might be bullied by these girls. What you got? You're just doing a bit of a clean-up, Lion? Just having a little, just watching them. So Taxon's now leaving the sighting. You may be able to hear a vehicle. Ooh. Peter Piper, you said who would win an eating contest? 8 lions or a pack of 8 wild dogs? Well, I suppose it depends what it is. If it was an impala, I think the lions would win. 8 lions would just literally pull each appendage apart and swallow it whole. And wild dogs eat fairly quickly. They do clean up a carcass too, but I think it's all size dependent. So should we do it in relation? So let's say an impala for the wild dogs and a kudu for the lions. It's probably going to be the wild dogs if you did it that way. I think that they are more efficient eaters. Remember, they are a lot smaller than a lion. They don't hold on to their prey, so they don't sort of catch really large meals that they can feed on for 2 or 3 days like lions do. A wild dog will try and eat, also again, their stomachs balloon up, but they eat more regularly. They eat once a day if they can. So there's always that opportunity that they don't have to go for really big prey. They'll go for smaller things and try and eat more regularly, where the lions have the complete opposite system. Also, lions need to eat a whole bunch more than a wild dog does. But I think wild dogs would probably clean up a carcass a lot quicker, depending on the size of it too and how many members there were. But good question. Gets your brain thinking, doesn't it? I had to go back to all the wild dog kills I've seen. And most of the time it's been small things like scrub hares. Sorry, I was interrupted by the lions. Dacre, bushbuck, the Odinyala. So yeah, quite cool though. Oh, you are all angry. Hey, lions? Shall we reposition, Senzo? I've got a case of the yawns at the moment. Let me go back a little bit. Let's see if we can change this angle up slightly. We moved right far away to accommodate everyone, but everyone seems to be leaving now. How's that? That should be a better view. We'll see in a minute. I can't see anything at the moment. It's just black darkness. But when we've got the infrared on, then I can see. I look at my monitor. Oh, hello. Now you can see how there's nothing left. So I just always try and make sure that the guests often have the better view so they can get some photos, and we can always sneak on in right at the end. But look at that. There's not even anything left now. And finally, the youngest lion of the Nkuhuma Pride is able to sink its teeth into the buffalo once again. Well done, little one. Your persistence has paid off this evening. But still, just sort of cowering in the corner, keeping out of harm's way. Guide Monkey, you said that the cub is really working the angles. I do agree. I feel like it's going to be, well, it was a photographer in its previous life. Not afraid to get down and dirty and lay flat on the floor to get the shot. That's exactly what's happened here this evening. But again, it worked, though. It worked really well. It's even got that tree next to it, so I suppose that's a little bit of protection between one of the bigger lions. I don't think it's getting much off of that, though. I mean, it barely looks a little bit bigger, a little bit more plump than we last saw it, but obviously not too happy with that spot and now moving right around. That's such an eerie shot. With that lion's eyes glowing, the paw on top of the rib cage. It's like a horror movie. Spars, you've asked, who is it, Tayla Pride? It's another Pride of Lions. I actually don't even know how many of them are left at the moment. Again, I'm so out of the loop in the Sabi sand. Oh, I've just pulled my mic pack off, sorry. Let me attach it again. So I'm not really sure how many are left. I know one of the older Tayla lions, not the tailless Tayla lion, unfortunately died of old age, but that, of course, was bound to happen. She was a much older girl. So the last time I remember, I think there were 2 or 3 females, one including the tailless. She's got a bit of a stump, and then there were 3 young boys that I think have now dispersed since then. I'm not sure how many, if she had cubs. I think she did, the tailless lion did have cubs too. But again, I'm so out of the loop, and I haven't been seeing any lions. This is the first time I put lions on screen since I've been back at work. Can you believe that? It's just been leopards coming out of my ears. So really nice. My goodness, these midges are getting underneath your hat and they bite all on your face. It's quite, and Senzo feels my pain this evening. Really are being attacked. You can see all of them buzzing around the front of the camera. So it's just another Pride of Lions. So sometimes we see them. They tend to hang around on Londolozi, Arethusa, Hoffman's, Shirley's, Little Gowrie. Sometimes they pop onto Chitwa, but not regularly. So that's sort of their area that they hang around on. See, I think what's happening now is they're all trying to grab hold and pull the carcass apart. Then they'll eat in peace because they'll just grab their bits and run and go sit in the corner. But there really isn't anything left now. Nothing yet. I think the one that's going to win at feeding on that carcass is probably going to be the little one, because it's got such a much smaller mouth, much smaller jaw, and is able to get into all those nooks and crannies. Very cool. Right. Off you go, back across to Scott to see who's going to find the chameleon first. I know it's not going to be me this evening, but who do you think? Hashtag Safari Live, whether it's going to be Scott or Lucky. Let's get those bets going, but let's go to Scott and give him a chance.